Here from Not Your Child Corp. So again, sometimes we get questions about breathalyzers, about impairment, and about the laws governing. And so it makes sense for us to have this live feed every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. where we can add more value to your experience being with us and following us, and where we can be of better service to you and answer some of those questions. Okay? Or beloved friends and members that we appreciate so much. So let's begin, shall we? So last week we covered the different types of breathalyzers and the way they function. You remember that, right? Infrared technology, semiconductor breathalyzers, as well as fuel cell breathalyzers. I'm pretty sure you remember. I'm pretty sure you do. So this week we will be covering, the medical conditions that can actually turn up a false positive on a breathalyzer as promised. So last week, you remember we spoke about the different type of breathalyzers, and we mentioned that breathalyzers that fall under the semiconductor category, they are subject to false positives by substances like cigarette fumes, ketones, and diabetic's breath. Okay, so now let's talk about diabetic's breath. Diabetic's breath and acetone, actually. Acetone is found in larger quantities in the breath of those that are uncontrolled diabetics. Hence the term diabetic's breath. I didn't want to paint all diabetics with the same brush. So those who are dieting and those who have their diabetes not under control actually have higher acetone levels that can actually affect the reading of a semiconductor breathalyzer. This is because, well, as we said before, the sensors also respond to acetone. So people with diabetes or diabetic's breath, they have higher acetone levels that can be hundreds, even sometimes thousands times higher than people whose bodies are functioning normally. The problem with this gas acetone, as I've said before, with semiconductor breathalyzers, is acetone actually registers as ethyl alcohol. So those breathalyzers cannot distinguish the difference between the two, acetone and ethyl alcohol. Next up, we have GERD, or gastroesophageal reflux disease. Now, this disease, it causes the contents of a person's stomach to actually travel back up their esophagus. So if the person did not drink alcohol, they're in the clear. But if they did drink alcohol, the undigested alcohol could also travel back up their esophagus and contaminate their breath. And it will register as breath alcohol on a breathalyzer. Next one, which is a surprise to many, is actually asthma. Now, this doesn't have to do with asthma per se, but it has to do with the medication that asthmatics have to take. So the inhaler, actually. Here's a fun fact. Asthma inhalers actually do contain alcohol in the mist. Now, that alcohol is not absorbed in their blood, but it sticks to the lining of their lungs. So it sticks to the lining of the lungs of the asthmatic. And as you can imagine, if they breathe into a breathalyzer after they take their medication, some of that will expel some alcohol in their breath, giving them a positive reading. The last one we'll cover today is liver and kidney disease. Okay. So as you know, our livers and our kidneys, they function as our body's filters. They remove toxins from our blood and they purify our blood. Now, if our livers and our kidneys are not functioning properly, ammonia can actually build up in our bodies. Okay, so people with liver and kidney disease, they can actually have a buildup of ammonia in their bodies, and that gas can trip up a breathalyzer test. So, you see how important it is to never take your health for granted, never take your mobility for granted, never take your freedom for granted. And so, in the spirit of not taking any of those for granted, make sure you get one of our single-use breathalyzers or another one of our breathalyzers on our site and make it a part of your plan to get home. You have to have a plan if you're going to drink, okay? Please remember to give blood when you can, especially during this time when accidents are high and blood supply may be low, okay? Buy directly from our wineries or breweries and our restaurants. Most of them deliver. Remember to tune into our Friday Fun Facts tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. where we arm you with fun facts about alcohol consumption before you head into the weekend. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I really do appreciate it. You're so faithful. And thank you very, very much for all your support. And the questions, keep talking to me. I like to talk to you, okay? And remember our golden rule. When you feel different, you drive different. Drive sober. Ciao.